Welcome to another episode of the A-List Movie Club. I am your host, the Game Changer, Wes Troop. And with me, as always, are Dominic and John. How's it going tonight, guys?
Oh,
Good.
And, oh, look, and there's Trixie and Chewie, too. uh, and, of course, this is the show where each week one of us picks a different movie to check out. And this time it was my turn, and I picked the 2004 Sci-fi Romance, is what it's billed as, film, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. So this was, according to IMDb, this is the synopsis. When their relationship turns sour, a couple undergoes a medical procedure to have each other erased from their memories. And I know we all have, three different viewpoints on this one. So this should be fun.
I'll start. I kind of liked it. It was okay. It was a movie that you had to think about. I think I found a glaring plot hole, but I won't go into that. I liked the performances of the main characters and even the secondary characters. It was just a weird movie. It really was. One of my questions was if you erased all the memories of somebody and say you were out to dinner with another couple, okay, and they erased that memory from you, what about when the other couple would say, yeah, don't you remember when you and I were out to dinner with so-and-so? Wouldn't that kind of mess things up? That other people would still remember her. Other people would still remember you being with her and stuff. That was my biggest glaring weak link in this movie, because you're not going to be able, like his friends, they had that at the beginning. They knew that she was erased, but how are you going to get every one of your so-called friends and co-workers or
well, there was that guy at the mailbox that said to him about her.
Yeah, for Valentine's Day.
Right, yeah. Exactly. So what, you would have tons of that happening. They couldn't get to every person and say, never mention her again to him, or never mention that you saw her with him, or anything like that. So that was my biggest plot hole in the movie.
Is it a plot hole if they talk about it, though? and acknowledge it?
In one instance. I'm sure all the people he worked with knew about her. I'm sure tons of other people knew about her. If they were in a relationship for over a year, here's the people at work are going to know about it. How are they going to go? Is the doctor going to go to his place of work, call a meeting with everybody except him, and say, you can never mention she who must not be named. You cannot mention her anymore.
I have a girl like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Benoit.
So that was my biggest problem. Otherwise, I thought the movie was I think the movie had a very interesting idea. And I wonder how many people would actually, if that was possible, would actually go through with that. And not necessarily for a relationship, but just any horrible, terrible memory.
How about, I know it got both of us, because when we watched it, we both went, oh man, the person with the dog.
Oh, yeah.
With all the dog stuff.
With all the stuff with the dog.
That was like the saddest part of the movie.
Oh my God, that broke my heart. That absolutely, and I can't even dwell on it because I'll start crying.
I know.
But yeah, so how many people would do that for other things? Like what if you had a child that died? would you want to remember that, or would you want to just forget
Ooh,
that whole pain? You
that
know,
would be awful.
right? So it opens up. I thought it was a very interesting premise for the movie. I
It
thought,
almost could have like spin-off sequels.
right. I thought Jim Carrey was very good in this. You know, he reined himself in. He had his moments where you were saying, "Yeah, that's Jim Carrey," but
Like when they were watching the drive-in
yeah,
and
stuff like
and
that,
making up uh
Dialogue and
the lines. Yeah. Mm.
right? Stuff like that. But otherwise, I would say I liked it. I would say I didn't love it, but I liked it, and I'm glad I watched it.
to your point, Dom, like what if a woman and a man are married, they have a kid, and then it ends ugly and she decides to wipe him out? And what about that kid? Does that
Right.
kid not remember his dad?
Well,
Does
no,
that wipe
because
out the
when
kid?
like get out, she would not remember that he was the kid's dad.
Yeah. But if the kid's like, "Where's my dad?" She had to be like, "I don't know. Who's your dad?" Because she
Right.
wouldn't remember him. Like, how would that work?
Yeah. So that's what I thought was a big flaw in the plot.
Yeah. I don't know. According to this thing, it's a romantic comedy. I don't know about that. I wouldn't say comedy. It's like a fantasy drama romance.
Yeah,
There's a couple.
it had some funny moments, but I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
not enough to call it a comedy.
no. I agree.
No, because if
Yeah,
you see comedy and Jim Carrey, you're expecting a different movie.
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
You're expecting to be
It was
talking
probably
out
to
his
get you to
butt or
buy
something.
that movie.
Yeah. I sorry. I couldn't get into this movie. It was like Tenet and Inception and Midsummer, and I text Wes like, "Can we have something more straightforward?" Starting to hurt my head with all this thinking shit.
Requiem for a Dream.
For a dream, yeah. I want to go from A to B, not A to Z, and then back to C, and then to T, and bounce all over the damn place. Screw that.
Mhm.
Maybe if I would have watched it in one straight shot instead of spending 2 weeks watching 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, maybe it would have made more sense. But I could not get into this movie. I couldn't buy into it. I couldn't get into it. I didn't like Jim Carrey's character. I thought he was kind of a dick.
Yeah.
I didn't like Elijah Wood's character.
No, he
Oh
was
yeah, he was he was a snake.
He was
I
kind of
have
sneaky.
written. Yeah.
The only person I kind of liked with Kirsten Dunst, and then at the end I was like, oh, now I don't even like her anymore. Yeah, no one really comes out good in this.
I like
Kate
Mark
Winslet's before.
Ruffalo's role.
Yeah,
He looked so different.
he did. I thought Kate Winslet was good. She always is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I liked her. But I can't tell you times I was watching it going, wait, is this now or is this a memory? Did this happen or did this not happen?
I feel like almost everything was a memory.
And I couldn't like
Mhm.
keep track. I know one of the trivia is that her hair colors mean different things.
Yeah, I have that in my notes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, well, I wish I'd have known that before I watched. But yeah, I didn't get their chemistry. I just didn't buy it. I don't know. I agree with Dom. I think that it's a nice premise. I think there's a good movie in there. It didn't work for me. They just didn't pull it off. I didn't hate it, but it's not something I would ever go back to.
Okay.
Yeah, I was bored.
Okay. Now we got to listen to Wesley's raging hard on about this movie.
Why? Ryan Gosling's not in it.
Oh,
No, but it was funny because I watched an essay video on this, and someone compared their relationship to that of Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone in La La Land. So kind of a long way around. There is sort of some sort of connection,
Yeah.
but which I could see that. Like you guys said, very interesting premise. And would you do this to erase someone out of your memory is what I kept thinking of. And it also shows us the good and the bad of the process and of modern technology. It's a lot to unpack. It leaves a lot of questions, and we haven't brought this up yet. We wondered if they had gone through this before, like if they've done this like 3 or 4 times. Like, are they stuck in a loop, always like falling apart and then resetting it to try to do it again?
I think they did, because remember, one of her lines was, "It always ends up this way," or something like that.
Yeah, so you wonder, is this like the 7th time they've done this, or we know it's at least twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it was more. I really believe
Yeah.
that. I believe it was at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Wait till we get to the trivia.
Okay. It's definitely a non-linear timeline. And I like the use of Clementine's hair as a device to tell when this was taking place. You're like, okay, well, this was back whenever. Very odd moments. A standout is going back to him being, I think it was 4 or 5 years old, underneath the kitchen table. That was a very odd scene. I thought it was interesting that we see mostly bad things from their relationship. Here and there, you'll see some good things, but it was usually in romantic comedies, as this was billed as, you see cute moments and stuff like that, and then one bad thing maybe. This was mostly bad things and 1 or 2 good things.
Well, I think that's part of what they wanted you to see, that they should not be together.
Right. Yeah. Even though they keep going back.
Was kind of what I don't want to give away the movie, but it was him trying to erase only the bad stuff. When he discovered the good stuff, it was like, no, I don't want to lose that too.
Yeah. Yeah, almost like
it all comes with it,
a Christmas Carol type thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
That you don't want to lose the good stuff. Sometimes the back and forth between Mark Ruffalo's team and the Jim Carrey, Kate Winslet story would get distracting. Like, you'd get into that for like, oh, okay, I'm into this scene, and then all of a sudden it jumps out, and here's Mark Ruffalo, and it's like, oh God. And some of that stuff I thought went on too long with them. I did like Elijah Wood being a snake. I thought that was interesting. Taking the memories and using them to try to get with Kate Winslet. And he's not really in much. So when he's around, it's like, oh, cool, Elijah Wood.
Different role for him.
Yeah. And it's weird that he gets characters that are like oddball ones, like this one and the one from Sin City. He's like a villain in that movie, and you're like, Elijah Wood. It's so off character for him. I thought the most unbelievable thing about this whole movie was the Kirsten Dunst, Tom Wilkinson thing. I was just like, what?
I was trying to pretend that never happened.
Yeah. Where does this come from?
Yeah. I was at work going, no way. No.
I was with it till that. I'm like, all right, you can erase someone's memory, and
that smoking hot girl and her grandfather. No.
I thought it was an interesting twist, but it would have worked better maybe if it was a younger man.
I thought we didn't need it. The focus should have been on Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet.
Right. Yeah, that's why I was saying, like, it took you out of it sometimes when they keep bouncing back and then throw in subplots, and I don't know. But
I think that was all to show that how this could be used either
for
one
different
way
ways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I just think it was a very odd choice. And came out of left field a little bit. I I did really think they had good performances here. Jim Carrey was good. Kate Winslet. They're both playing against type. Because when this started, I'm like, that is an odd character for Kate Winslet to be playing. It's almost like they switched their types of characters they played normally. Like she's way over the top and obnoxious, and he's more down to earth and somber.
Yeah, she's sort of manic and all over the place, and he's very
So I thought that was interesting too. I mean, that's pretty much what I've got. So,
All right, trivia time.
Oh, this ought to be good.
Oh, shout out to that Love Gun T-shirt, by the way.
Yes. Despite the fact that Charlie Kaufman's script, and I don't know how you say the director's name, Mikhail Gondry's visual concepts were closely followed, the cast members were allowed many chances to improvise. Elijah Wood and Mark Ruffalo improvised extensively, and much of the dialogue between Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet resulted from videotaped rehearsal sessions, during which the two became close by sharing tales of their own real-life relationships and heartbreaks. During the train scene, when Kate Winslet punches Jim Carrey, that was not scripted. So when Jim Carrey's surprised, that he was really surprised. Originally in the train scene, the music was supposed to play when they weren't talking to fill in the gaps, but they changed it so that it played when they were talking and stopped when they stopped.
I think that's to show the gap. I think that's to better emphasize the uncomfortable silences.
Yeah, the awkward silences, especially if it's someone you don't know. Yeah.
Right.
The scene where Jim Carrey is watching himself get his memories erased, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Was no special effects. Jim Carrey would go back and forth. He'd get out of the chair, put the hat on, and stand there and film that scene. Take it off, go sit back down in the chair.
Wow.
And went back and forth.
Oh.
I don't remember the scene, but the scene where they watch the parade go through the streets. I don't remember that scene at all.
I'm not sure.
But that was not in the script. They were filming, and there happened to be an actual parade going on in that town. So the director's like, let's just go watch this parade.
And make people sign a whatchamacallit thing that they can use their likeness.
The scene in the movie, in that scene where she disappears, no one told Jim Carrey about that scene. So he was genuinely looking for her.
Oh, wow.
And it said, if you listen closely, he shouts out Kate instead of Clementine. Kate Winslet said this is her favorite performance.
Wow.
When Mark Ruffalo scares Kirsten Dunst, the director told Mark Ruffalo to hide in a different spot each take so he could actually scare her, so she wouldn't know where to look. Clementine's hair goes from blue to orange to red to green to brown. It helps the viewer keep track of where in the relationship she is. Like we said, is it a dream? Is it real? Yeah. According to Mark Ruffalo, the scene where him and Kirsten Dunst dance in their underwear on top of Jim Carrey was improvised.
Wow.
Good for Jim Carrey for like staying still and not being. Kate Winslet's different hair colors were all wigs, since they couldn't dye it. So sometimes she filmed 3 or 4 different scenes in the same day.
Oh, yeah.
There was a subplot involving Jim Carrey and that girl Naomi that he used to live with having some sort of thing, but that got cut.
That makes sense.
We had enough going on with this damn movie.
Yeah.
The scene where Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet are small children. That is actually Jim Carrey and Kate Winslet's voices They dubbed them as that scene was being recorded so that they would say it as their characters would. So it wasn't like
Wow.
dubbed in later. It was
Hmm.
During that parade scene, some of the extras noticed Jim Carrey and started sort of harassing him and asking for autographs. And he had to say, "Hey, I'm filming a movie." Imagine that. There was a scene where Mark Ruffalo and Kirsten Dunst had sex in the room while Jim Carrey is out of it,
Oh my God.
which would explain that part where they get up out the chair and they both have to get their clothes on before the boss
Yeah.
comes over. I'm like, why are they naked? Like, I don't get it. That would make sense now. Well,
Yeah.
she's kind of blood, wasn't she? Gee, slept with both of her coworkers. Damn. All the train shots were shot on an actual train.
Hmm.
The scene where Jim Carrey sees the doctor, but you don't see his face. It's kind of wiped clean or whatever. That was the director's knee.
Okay.
Interesting.
The scene where they're in the sink
Hmm.
was over 2 hours long, and Kate Winslet passed out. The director wanted to keep filming, and Jim Carrey got mad and refused until he was sure Kate Winslet was fine. Yeah. I don't know.
Sounds like a lot of interesting stuff during the filming.
Yeah. Jim Carrey and the director fought often. He would go to Kate Winslet and say, "This is a comedy. I want you to be over the top crazy." And then go to Jim Carrey and go, "This is a drama. I need you to tone it down."
Now it makes sense.
So, Jim Carrey was sort of, I guess, like, what the hell? He told you it's a comedy? What the hell? He told me it's a drama. Like, kind of explains why the movie's kind of all over the place too. Like, yeah. That's like the better stuff. Roger Ebert had it on his best of the year list. There was something to hear about them all being superhero. They were all superhero movies.
Oh.
Seth Rogen auditioned for the part of Patrick.
Oh, okay.
Kate Winslet beat out Nicole Kidman and Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Oh, I would have much rather seen her than either of them.
Well, the other two might have been a little bit more age appropriate. I think Jim Carrey was like 20 years older than Kate Winslet.
Wow, really?
I mean, I'm okay with that, but
Yeah. Catherine Zeta-Jones would have been odd because she's like barely in anything. But back then, she had just won an Oscar, I think, for Chicago.
Well, it said the studio demanded that the lead actress be an Oscar winner.
Oh, wow.
So, I don't know what Kate Winslet would have won it for.
Titanic.
2004?
No, she didn't win for Titanic.
Mm-hmm. Nobody won for Titanic but the movie and the director, I think, right?
I'd have to look it up, what she won an Oscar for.
Yeah. Nicole Kidman was at Cold Mountain.
Yeah.
That year. Yeah, I don't know what. I don't know.
I don't either. We're stumped.
All right. Let's rate this pig.
Yeah, let's rate this turd.
And
then let's wipe it from our memories.
It wasn't great. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd watch it again. I might watch it again just to see if I can make more heads or tails out of it.
Kind of like Hereditary. Maybe the second time will be better.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with a 7. It's okay.
Wow.
Oh, don't worry. I'm gonna give it a 10 or a 9, probably.
It's a 4 for me, and I'm just being generous.
Okay.
I really did not dig this movie.
I really liked it. We're all sort of all over the place on this one. I would give it a 9.
Oh, jeez.
What kept it from a 10 was the bouncing back and forth with too much with the Mark Ruffalo stuff. If there was less of that, I probably would have gave it a 10, honestly. That's how much I liked it.
If it would have been a straight up romantic comedy, I would have liked it more. Like I thought for sure they were gonna have like Jim Carrey and Kirsten Dunst, like, well, maybe he'll wind up with her, and then it'll be like, he gets over her that way without having to erase his memories. But
Right.
I don't write screenplays, so what do I know?
According to whatever, Google, Kate Winslet won for The Reader in 2009. So maybe it was just Academy Award nominee.
Maybe she was so good she beat out the Oscar winners that year.
That's true. She was nominated for Sense and Sensibility and Titanic and Iris. And then
she was nominated for Titanic.
Yeah. And then Little Children, Steve Jobs, and The Reader. So she's been nominated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times.
Wow. And she's only won one?
Yeah, for the Reader.
I like The Reader. That was good.
I haven't seen that one actually.
Oh.
I have it though.
All righty. So that comes to my pick for the movie.
Oh.
And we're going back. We're going
the first mob
back.
movie.
We're going way back, 60 years back. We're going to go to, and John, you do have HBO Max, right?
Yes.
Okay. We're going way back to 1962 for Joan Crawford and Betty Davis in Whatever Happened to Baby Jane.
Okay. That's not black and white, is it?
Yes.
Oh. I've heard of it actually. I've never seen it, but I've heard of it.
I've never seen it either.
A psychological horror thriller.
Oh, great.
Go figure.
So much for straightforward.
I've seen parts of it. I've never seen the whole movie.
So it'll be another one where none of us have seen it really. So
well, there we go.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll be back with our thoughts on that. Until then, John, you want to talk a little bit about the podcast?
Yeah, We Like Wrestling Podcast. It's a weekly podcast and YouTube show. 4 guys sitting around talking about any and everything wrestling related. Tournaments, interviews. Sometimes we have guests on like Wes. All kinds of wrestling stuff. Yeah, we're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. We have a store. We're on Mercari. I think that's how it's pronounced. Where you can buy merch. We're on Spotify and Apple iTunes, wherever you find podcasts. We Like Wrestling Podcast.
All right. And of course, for me, you can subscribe right here on YouTube, youtube.com/westside515. Like the show on Facebook, facebook.com/WestTruePaylist. And of course, you can follow me on the Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd @WestAlist. Until next time, troop.
Ringo out.